Welcome to How to Live Slow, the podcast where we discuss slow living for the modern woman and help you design an intentionally slower family life. I'm Rachelle Glendon, your personal slow living coach and host of this podcast. I know all about busy, but I love living slow. Enjoy the show. Cool. Okay, so I'm here with Susan today from Adminaholics. I can't wait to chat with her. How are you, Susan?
Really good. Thanks, Rachelle. So excited to be here. So I'm looking forward to getting into what we're at the end of January now. So looking forward to really getting into the year that's ahead.
Yes, absolutely. I know I always call January the prologue to the year because it never really feels like you've started until February.
Yeah, I like to do my planning and stuff like that. And because I know from February, it's hit the ground running.
Yeah, absolutely. Back to school, back to work, which is perfect segue because we're going to be talking today about what it's like to have a VA business. And can you tell us what that VA means and what it's like to start a VA business?
Of course. Well, it's been a little while now since I started a VA business because I started back in 2009. I know. So it's been 12, nearly 13 years in July it'll be. So what happened was we'd just been through the GFC. I'd been out of work for about 3 years because I've got a 19, a 14 and I was 19, 15 and 14-year-old now. And at the time they were 7, not quite 3 and 18 months old. So they were really, really young when I started my business. And of course, going through the GFC, there was the money issues, there were margin calls, there were lost monies on shares, there was you name it. And I just needed to earn some cash, like just to earn that extra $100 a week was literally a saving grace for us at that time. As you know, with young children at the moment, Rachelle, we all have our tight times. So for me, that was when I started my business. And now what it's like to start a VA business, oh my goodness, that's a whole other kettle of fish. So I started by doing it myself because, as mums, we kind of have that superhero mentality. Oh yeah, I can do this. It's amazing. And so I started going along and, advertising in the wrong places, put an advert out on the local newspaper, on our, the big one, like the Gold Coast Bulletin or something like that. I think I spent $2,500 in advertising and literally got one client. It was so devastating for about 3 hours a month. Now I worked with that client for years and years and years, so it sort of paid itself off. But it wasn't doing the right sort of marketing. So I learned really quickly that I needed to learn the right sort of marketing. So I had a chat with another mum, and she said, why don't you get back into doing VA, doing administration and PA as a business? And I went, is there a market for that? She goes, oh my goodness, I need to introduce you to a mentor. I'm literally working full time.
Wow.
And that was back then. So she introduced me to my mentor, which was Liz Parker from 121 Temps and VA Placements. And I literally hit the ground running from then. And I worked with Liz for years and years as one of her students, but also then as a consultant for the business as well. So
that's amazing. Wow. Okay. So it's been quite a
journey.
Yeah. So VA, just for everyone who's not certain, is a virtual assistant. So you work in administration roles and just other technical kind of online business. You do things that you don't need to be in an office. So it was kind of like the first work from home office worker.
The way I sort of described it back in the day, I can say that now, like a whole 2012 years ago, because we had a lot of people in the industry, but it was still reasonably new. And I got asked a lot of questions of, well, how do you do that? And I said, well, it's like when your boss goes away and they need stuff done. So they give you a call or they send you an email. It's exactly the same. But now we've got better communication tools out there, such as Slack as well as, emails a lot better than what it was. We've got, project management software such as Asana or ClickUp and stuff like that, which makes things a lot easier to communicate with your team members.
Yeah, amazing. So it's pretty much like the perfect job for a mum who's choosing to stay at home or wants to work part-time.
Yeah, and it depends on what you want to offer as a service in your business as well, because it's like a plumber. Just because you can plunge the toilets doesn't mean you really want to.
Yeah.
So, and same thing goes for a VA business and any other business, a virtual assistant business, or any other business that you want to start off with. It's starting with what you're comfortable with. I find that most VAs that are starting, and most mums especially, we don't have the confidence. We've just come out of having kids. I'm the first one to admit I didn't have the confidence. So I started with data entry until I actually realized that all of that's outsourced offshore because it's much cheaper option for team members, for clients to actually offshore that than to get an Australian person to actually cover that off for them, unless it's really specific in a certain role that they actually need that. So then I learned that I needed to level up.
Yeah.
And do some further study and do some learning into what I want to grow into.
Yeah, great. So where are you now with your business then? Like, how does it look now?
Well, now it looks, so with Adminaholics, I have, I think, about 20 clients on my books. So it's a reasonably large business. I also have 2 casual staff members as well as 2 virtual assistants that I work with as well. So the casual staff members sort of help me in office with my stuff for Adminaholics, but also some client stuff, as well as I also own VA placements. So I mentioned that I worked with Liz from 121 Temps and VA Placements. I actually bought VA Placements last year in 2021, and we have another 400 virtual assistants under that can help clients as well.
Wow.
So
Okay.
that's how my business has grown.
Yes, that's amazing. So it's, really taking off. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So you're doing directly client work as well as running that other VA placements, which was that more corporate kind of thing? Like, what are the clients for that
VA
business?
placements. So for me, I mainly work with coaches. So whether that's life coaches, people such as yourself,
Yes.
Rachelle, I work with quite a few leadership coaches and business coaches, as well as trainers as well. So that's the majority of my clientele with Adminaholics. There's only so many clients that I can take on to that level because all my clients, I can't say yourself, Rachelle, but all of my clients, they are quite big personalities. So they love to work with people who can keep up with their stuff. Yes. And I'm that sort of person that can sort of keep up. And they've normally been clients that have been through VAs previously. They haven't had a massive success rate. And so then they come and have a chat with me, because whether it's just 9 times out of 10, I find it's a personality fit more so than anything. They need somebody that is a little bit more full on like them, or they need somebody a little bit more relaxed, which I know is definitely not me. But with that, I find a lot of mums, it's their confidence. So, and I was the first to admit that can I do this is the first one. Yeah. Even though you've worked within the administration fields before and you've got all of this experience, it's just your confidence of actually getting back into the workplace again. And I'm the first to admit that I really struggled with it. Struggled with it. So having that mentor to get you over some of those hurdles really, really helps.
Yeah, great. So, I know what you mean, because I've worked in admin roles in the past as well, front office work, finance and support roles, where you're sort of feeling like a little bit like waiting for instructions or things like that. But now you've got a business where you're doing that, but you've got to take the initiative to ask. There's that little bit of a thing. So
definitely initiative is a big one. And I find, instead of thinking of it as initiative, think of it as customer service. So for example, it's like, how can I help you today? What else can I do? Is there, can I actually send that email off to that client? And I saw that come into your inbox, whereas normally the client would reply to it. It's those small things that can really help. I saw that this link wasn't working on your website. Would it be okay for me to fix that up? It's those sorts of smaller things. And then they start thinking, oh, she's like, or he, because we do have a couple of male virtual assistants around, are really quite on the pulse. That's somebody that I want to work more with. So one of my most interesting ones was I started off just doing I've never touched a website before in my entire life, back in 2009. And literally they asked me, can you start that? And I'm like, no, I've never done a website. It's not my thing. I can't do it, blah, 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 blah. And it was lucky enough I had Liz, and she totally pushed me off the cliff, is probably the easiest way. Literally sent me over the waterfall, in I went. And And she said, look, the client's going to train you on how to do it. And this is back before WordPress. This was in Drupal days, okay? So this is before, I know. This is even before Facebook days. And I said, no, I can't do it. And she goes, look, the client's going to train you. Well, that client I'm still working to this day. I've been working with this client for 11 years. I actually went to Dubai with this client on this really cool trip.
Wow.
Yeah, it was amazing. So, where the role can take you is, I'm actually managing quite a lot of her online business, and she trusts me to sort of cover that off and to actually work in that and to help the clients and stuff like that. So I'm sort of like a right-hand person rather than being an assistant, so to say.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that's really cool. So you become a bit more integrated in their business. Yeah,
exactly. Becoming integrated and being that go-to person rather than being, somebody that they go, oh, I've got to find work for somebody again to actually do this, which we find is quite another challenge as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So what would you say to someone exploring like this idea of becoming a VA?
Definitely explore it. My thoughts is that you need a bit of a passion with it as well. So everybody can do the data entry and the typing and the letter writing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Write down the stuff that you love to do when you're working. That's probably the biggest thing. There might have been, what was the things that people would come to you to ask you? We call them, I think, shadow roles and shadow positions. So even though you doing an administration role, you're a leader in a really like minor area, and that's your shadow role. So and
I
we
like
all
that idea.
so we find that we've got, so there's strengths, and it's like when you're looking at seek.com or Career One or something like that, there are certain roles you'll go through and you go, right, there's, oh, they want MYOB, or they want Zero, or they want this, or they want that, or they want customer service or whatnot. There's certain roles that you go, oh yeah, I really want to apply for that. Or there's roles that go, oh, no, I've never done any of that. And the same goes with clients. They want to know what, not necessarily skills, but services that you can help them with. So it's kind of a mix. And then there's also who you want to work with. You might like working with accountants and lawyers, or you might prefer to work with tradies, or there's a certain clientele or business or coaches like me kind of thing. So there's a certain clientele that you kind of feel affiliated with.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. So it might depend on like your past experience, and like you said, like who do you like resonate
mesh well with? Who do you resonate with? And you might actually, some clients come through and they're very much phone people. They'll ring you at the drop of a hat. And you go, right, Susan, can you just do this? Can you just do that? Because they're an auditory type of person, or they're on the road or whatnot. Whereas that may not be the way that you like to work. So it's working out how that's going to mesh well with your personality as well.
Yeah, right. Okay. So those are the sorts of things that are like, we talk about transferable skills. That's the sort of thing that we could, put into the transferable skills. Like what sort of other would you put in
so my recommendation is to actually go down, write every single thing that you did in a previous role and add to it, because I tell you what, you'll be there for a week just adding to the list. And then I want you to circle your top 3 things that you love to do. And the reason that we do this is because they become your superpowers kind of thing, because they're the ones that you love to do. And they're the ones that you can normally charge more for, because you normally get them done faster and you normally love doing them. And if you could do everything just with them in a day, that would just make your day.
Yeah, great. Okay. So you can offer specifically, this is the thing that I can help you with.
Yeah.
People will be.
So I've got virtual assistants and VA placements. Some are website people, some are social media, some are accounts. We've got some that work specifically with just health businesses, such as physios and stuff like that. So you can even go down the actual industry pathway rather than actually being specific in the skills that you do.
Cool.
There's ones that are just specific podcast or blog post or content management. So it really depends on what you're actually looking at.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So it is really as flexible as it seems in a way.
It really is. And the ones where it's not so flexible in regards to work and stuff like that is probably as a receptionist, because you are a little bit more tied to your desk than what you would normally be, because normally with a receptionist setup, it's set up on a computer. You've got a CRM behind it where it bounces on the screen. You're going, welcome to ABC Company. This is Susan. How may I help you today? And then you go through and there's a bit of a script there. So that's where it's not so flexible, but it's flexible in the fact that if you're doing it as a team member, you've got hours that you can sign up for. But if you're doing it as your own business, you're doing a lot more hours until you get those team members in.
Yeah, I got you. So then where would you sort of start? Would you recommend something like that like VA placements as a starting point? Or
definitely VA placements or 1-to-1 terms, finding a mentor that fits with your personality really works well. I find, look, I've worked with a few different mentors amongst the VA industry, and I found some are fabulous, some I didn't mesh so much with. It really depends on how well you work with somebody, and and taking that coachable advice as well is really helpful. Like Liz was really good at just getting me across the line. Basically, I needed that push, and she knew that.
Yeah. It's sort of like, I like the idea. I see what you mean. A mentor in this sort of getting started with your own, because when you start a new job, normally you've got someone who you go and they like, right, this is the office. Here's where we make our tea. Always most importantly worried about tea. But, here's the staff room. Here's your desk. This is the number for IT, all of those things. But when you're starting your own home-based VA kind of assistant,
you are the IT person. So it's actually going, right, where do I ask for advice? And we've got a really great Facebook group that can sort of help with that. But it's also being able to, like, if you're paying for the mentoring, you're able to ask that. You're getting a bit more of that one-to-one than what you would if you were just trying to do it all yourself. And I found that was just a game changer for me.
Yeah, amazing. And it just, like you said, goes to show you can just find those few clients and create yourself a really flexible job.
The one I love is actually being really specific with what you're looking for in a client. And the reason that I say that is because when you're on Seek.com, you may not apply for 60 different jobs. You may see 100, but you may only apply for 20 of those jobs. And then you only want one, right?
Yeah.
And the same goes with similar goes with the VA. You want more than one client. And the reason that you want more than one client is because of the ATO issues around working with one client. So you definitely want more than one client. And we sort of discuss that at VA placements and stuff like that can help you through that. Yeah, but that's one of the main things. And then being really specific, because if you're looking at tradies, example, and looking at specific tradies, whether you're looking at electricians or plumbers, something like that, it's really easy to market to those people. And the reason it's easy to market to those is because you're being really specific in the wording. Yeah. And if you only want 3 to 5 clients, how many, I don't even know, there's 2.5 million small businesses within Australia at the moment. And with 2.5 million businesses in Australia, and you only want maybe 4 clients or 2 to start off with, right? Even 1 would be amazing when you're first starting. I know I just wanted to get the 1 when I first started. But if you're looking at a maximum of, say, 4 to 5 clients that you can sort of handle, that's giving you a nice weekly income and getting that ticking over, then, and your market's really specific to actually who you want to work with and who you love working with, then that's all you need. You don't need to market to everybody. I see a lot of BBAs when they first come in, I just want to work with small businesses. Well, virtual assistants are a small business. Do you want to work with VAs too? Like cleaners are a small business. Do you want to work with those sorts of people? So being really specific with who you want to work with really helps too.
I totally understand what you're saying. Like any business needs to niche. You need to have your customers, right? So, and the more you specialize in a particular type of customer, like I can imagine if you are really good at helping run a tradie business, eventually you can work up your way to maybe consulting when a tradie wants to start a business, and you know how to set all of that up and everything like that. So, you can eventually earn more and more money, and you get more and more skills, and who knows where it can lead.
Definitely. And I met a lady the other day, and she's actually an efficiency consultant for tradies, and that's who she specifically works with. So, for example, if you do have a tradie business, see your eyes there, Rachelle. Do you want an intro?
No, I just will let you know that my husband is the most efficient when it comes to work. He's the most efficient, lazy person, because the quicker he gets it done, the quicker he can get home when it comes to trades. But we have a lot of trouble with other subbies. Yeah, just subbies are good, like contractors, like total tangent, but tradies are good at the thing that they do. They're not necessarily project managers.
It's so true. And so, she actually niched in actually putting in efficiencies for tradie businesses. And I went, as soon as I met her, I went, we just started talking processes and systems and stuff like that. And we just went off in all sorts of tangents like we just did then.
Yes, totally. She needs to get into that Tradie Wives Facebook group.
Oh, I think she is.
Oh, yeah.
But yes, I think I'm even in there as well. I don't even know how.
Yeah.
It's a great group.
It is a great group. Yeah, it's really good. It's nice to just like not commiserate, but I guess commiserate with other tradie wives about like what it's like being married to someone who leaves the house before 5 a.m.
Yes, that is so true.
Anyway, total tangent. But yes, we were going to talk about, your efficiency consultant. That's a great, so she's grown her business.
Yeah, she's grown her business from working with that to actually in doing efficiency and time management, just putting in different processes. And it could be just, sometimes it's just that one thing that just speeds everything up and just changes your whole world.
Yeah. Even things like probably getting your tools and equipment ready for the next day the night before, like at the end of your workday versus in the morning. Yeah.
Yeah.
So get up
and same goes for a virtual assistant business as well. I find if I write my to-do list before I go to bed, then I get up and I start doing stuff rather than filing through emails and sorting this and doing that. And, before you know it, it's midday before I've even started work. So even myself as the efficiency queen, and I've coined myself, I am that efficiency person. I get stuck in tangents and, you lose motivation when you're not ticking off the stuff that you really want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I check my emails in the afternoon after I've finished doing my busy work. And that's when I write my to-do list for the next day, because I find like it's the same work, just the days flipped. And then that way, when I've written my to-do list for the next day, I sleep better. When I get to my desk and I know I don't have to check emails because I've already done it last night, you just get into it. It's a bit, I don't know, something just flows differently. And it's just it's the same amount of work. It just...
Yeah. And if you're checking them in the afternoon too, it means that anything urgent you can action, but anything that needs a little bit more hands-on, you can put it in your best thinking time, which is normally the morning.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. Yeah, absolutely. So, yes, total tangent, but very relevant, I think. So
I think so. And especially for mums that, if you're working with your tradie partner or you are even, putting in those efficiencies in your day-to-day life as well. Like it's, writing those lists the day before. So you're up and you're at them and you're getting those things done is so important.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I even know as a stay-at-home mum, if you're not working, it can feel like, if you're not working in a paid role, it can feel like you're never really achieving anything in the home either. Like you never really have downtime because you're always thinking about housework and personal life admin. Life admin these days is just massive, and it's just really hard to stay on top of if you're not, you still need efficiencies when you're doing that. But anyway, let's get back on track.
I have to ring the insurance company and I know it's going to take time and I just really don't want to do it. So just to streamline some things with there, and I'm just not in the space to do it.
Yeah, I know. All of that. So how do you find your customers? Like what area do you decide to focus on? Aside from your previous experience.
Yeah, besides from your previous experience, I think it's going to come down to the three things that you circle on your list when you actually do go through and write your list.
Yeah.
When to find customers. So once you've got an idea of what sort of customers that you want to work with, and you can also do that from an industry basis as well. And I've got a really cool industry list as well. So if you're listening to this and you want to get in touch with me for that industry list, let me know and I can send that through as well. But in regards to the finding customers, there's quite a few different ways. So I wouldn't recommend advertising in the local newspaper.
No,
don't do
not.
that. But look, networking events. Now, networking events is something that scared the living daylights out of me for years and years and years. And I am an awkward networker. I am literally half introvert, half extrovert. I love talking to people on Zoom things. I have no issue. I love presenting on Zoom. I've been known to present to 500 people on Zoom. I don't have an issue with it. Put me in front face to face with 500 people and I have a mini heart attack. But last year I did join BNI networking on the Gold Coast here, and it is one of the largest. So we had over 60 people in the room at times.
Wow.
And that was completely out of my comfort zone. So even after 12 years in business, I'm still out of my comfort zone, still doing things, being uncomfortable I'm still doing that. And the other way is to join a directory such as VA placements and finding a mentor, because they're really going to help you to actually find your customers with that. The other way is word of mouth. Most of mine actually comes word of mouth or through my website or through LinkedIn. LinkedIn's like my go-to.
LinkedIn's a bit of a secret squirrel when it comes to social media, isn't it?
It really is. And finding those, it's interesting enough that the stats are that the majority of people on LinkedIn earn over 100 grand a year.
Yep.
And so being able to target to those people that are earning, what you want to be earning or, are in business and whatnot are really, really good. And different people are really keen to connect on LinkedIn, like financial advisors are really great at connecting on LinkedIn. Real estate agents, oh my gosh, they love connecting on LinkedIn. If you've got those two target markets, they're a really easy way to connect and find clients that way through LinkedIn. It's just your messaging.
Yeah, so true. And lots of entrepreneurially spirited people who are looking for someone who, you might be able to help them.
Yeah, exactly. Whether it's for, a couple of hours a week or it's, 20 hours a month or, longer. I've had clients that have sort of come in and gone like 20 hours a week and stuff like that to begin with. Yeah. So it really depends on what you're actually looking at with your clients.
Amazing. That's so cool. Such a cool business idea for, even just dipping your toe. It sounds like you just never know where it's going to lead.
No, you don't. And, it's like any business. It's like study as well. If you're studying a course at university and you don't put any effort into it, you know what the results are going to be, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And it goes the same with business. Like if you put the effort into it, you get the right mentoring or the right tutoring to go with it. Then, it comes down to grit and determination after that for what you're going to achieve out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that makes sense. It's like anything really. So you can specialize in an industry, you can specialize in a particular software, a particular communication format, you can do people's email or great.
Yeah, there's so many things
specialize in Pinterest or a particular social media.
And I've even had like bookkeeping virtual assistants as well, so they do a bit of admin as well as bookkeeping, and they're certified as a BAS service provider and stuff like that. So there's different things that they can actually do behind the scenes there to become that little bit more niche and specialized.
Wow, that's so cool. So final words of wisdom, anything you'd like to let people know that if they're thinking about the virtual assistant route?
Oh, look, if you find your passion and you love it, just go for it. Honestly, it has changed my world. I always thought that I would go back to a traditional job.
Yeah.
And I've still got my 80-year-old neighbour saying to me, actually, it's only since COVID that she doesn't say it anymore, that, so when are you going to go back to the office and get a real job? I think you'd really enjoy that. And now it's like, it's really good that you work from home. So it's completely changed. But words of wisdom, I think, feel the fear and do it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. That's so true. It applies to anything, doesn't it?
It does. Just feel the fear and do it anyway. I think that's why I went whitewater rafting over the holidays. Feel the fear and do it anyway.
Yeah, good. So fun. I can't wait for my kids to be old enough to do that.
So good.
I'm not scared. Cool. Thank you so much. All right. So I'll leave the links to everything we've spoken about today in the show notes.
Thank you.
But if people want to connect with you, what's the best way?
Probably LinkedIn's amazing. So
Okay.
I'm on LinkedIn as Susan Wilkinand, and you can sort of connect with me. Once you're connected with me, you've got access then to another 3,000 contacts on there. So yeah, and I'm not even one of the big heavy hitters on LinkedIn. So
yeah. Cool. Okay, that's good to know. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time today.
That was a lot of fun.
It was. Bye.
That's it for another episode. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you'd like to connect further, the show notes from today's episode, including all the social links and free resources, are over on my website, howtoliveslow.com/podcast. Have a beautiful week ahead, and I'll speak with you again soon.